About it. How would you describe the conversations as of today between Magic and the Lakers and Dell Demps and the Pelicans?
Well, they're certainly ongoing, Kevin, and they talked twice this morning, and the Lakers, as you detailed, they've now put their key young players in the deal. I'm told 2 first-round picks are in the offer now, and what New Orleans is trying to do here is measure what the Lakers may offer by the Thursday deadline against what else could be out there for them, in the summertime, and obviously what else is coming in the marketplace now. But the Lakers are doing what they have to do to try to get it, Davis, and that's offer their best young players. And at this point, 2 picks and the salary cap relief, taking on potentially the rest of Solomon Hill's contract and starting to clean up New Orleans' financial books. Okay, now, aside from the Lakers, this list here, let's talk about it. The Knicks, the Bucks, and the Clippers, how do they fit in these conversations this week? Well, the Knicks made an offer to the Pelicans for Davis, and they offered Kristaps Porzingis as a centerpiece of their package. New Orleans said no, and they moved on. They ended up trading him to Dallas, obviously. They're not in a position to do a deal right now. They might be in the spring if they get the number 1 pick. They got a 12.5% chance of getting that if they're one of the worst teams. But the Bucks and Clippers, certainly are both teams, the Bucks, best team in the East, Clippers, potential, a potential team in the West that could be real active in free agency this summer. But neither team right now has a pathway, has the kind of assets needed to do a deal for Anthony Davis. The focus for Rich Paul, his agent, and for Davis is still, getting to the Lakers here in the short term. But the door is open elsewhere except for Boston. You mentioned short term except for Boston because they are playing the long game now. They're not on this list. How does that impact the Celtics' interest and this pursuit for Davis? Well, Boston's interest has been undeterred by where they have told they fit in Anthony Davis's mind. And they can't trade for him until technically July 1. They could certainly get involved in talks after the season. And Boston's focus, listen, they want to pair Anthony Davis with Kyrie Irving. And even if Kyrie Irving wasn't going to be in Boston, if it came to that, they still want to trade for Anthony Davis. But if the Pelicans do a deal with the Lakers or somebody else between now and Thursday, Boston may not get to the plate on it. All right, the Celtics, again, unable to make a trade until July 1st as long as Kyrie Irving is on the team's roster. Woj, thank you so much. And then there's this. It's only a matter of time to the drama with a LeVar Ball quote. He talked to Ohm Youngmisuk about a potential trade involving his son, and he said, "We want to be in L.A., but if he's traded, I don't want Lonzo in New Orleans. Phoenix is the best fit for him, and I'm going to speak it into existence." But of course, KO. Yeah, great. Essentially fallen out of the playoff race here. Injuries to teammates. Anthony Davis has been out. It certainly gives them a window now between today and the February 7th trade deadline to find a deal ostensibly to the Lakers. Now, Paul and Davis have not told New Orleans that they prefer to be traded to L.A. They haven't told the rest of the league, hey, we're going to only sign an extension, but we won't sign an extension with you. We'll only go to L.A. in free agency in 2020. It may come to that, but right now there's a window where L.A. and some others can negotiate with the Pelicans on a trade, and Boston can't because they're in a contractual situation with Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis where they can't have both on the same roster until after July 1.
So is Davis concerned at all about how this looks? He was playing the team guy for so long.
Listen, I think Anthony Davis is a sensitive guy, and he has loved being in New Orleans. And I do think he has wanted it to work there. And, he could sign a 5-year, $240 million Supermax extension this summer. He can't get that. He can't sign that elsewhere. But for Davis, by him telling New Orleans this now, it allows them to know where he stands, to know that his future is not going to include them. And the one thing that I'm told Paul did not do over the weekend when he told New Orleans, he did not say we want this done by the trade deadline. Mm-hmm. He just said we want to be moved. We aren't going to sign the extension this summer, and we're not going to re-sign in 2020. But New Orleans is under no great pressure to do a deal between now and the February 7th deadline.
So what do they do?
Well, I think right now what they do, they're huddling this morning, and they've got to start taking on offers and see what is out there. There are going to be teams who are contenders right now, who see Anthony Davis as a player who might be able to help them get to the finals, might be able to help them win a championship. And they're already discussing internally, and some have been doing it for a while. If we trade for Davis and just treat him as a rental, try to win this year, and he doesn't want to stay with us, and after this season he said, hey, I'm going to leave in 2020, well, then we trade him at auction to Boston, to L.A., and we can recoup the assets that we traded New Orleans from Boston or L.A., and in the meantime, we get Anthony Davis to make a run. So there's a lot of scenarios out there that might pique New Orleans' interest.
Okay, so it puts New Orleans in an interesting but maybe a good position.
Shelf him the remainder of the year. This is awkward, and it isn't ever going to not be awkward until it ends. Like a couple who are getting a divorce, but they still live together. How's that going to go? Hey, did you have a good day at work? You want to get a bite to eat? No, I don't want to eat with you. Go eat somewhere else where I don't have to listen to you chew. You sicken me. I don't know if it's that bad, but it's not good. Brian Windhorst joins us now off the marital discord analogy. How do things go from here with Davis in New Orleans?
Scott, who hurt you?
Nobody. I'm good.
Okay, good. Okay, look, let's just be honest here. Nobody is happy with this arrangement that exists. The Pelicans are not happy. Anthony Davis is not happy. The NBA is not happy. Adam Silver made that clear over the weekend. So now there's been a regime change with Danny Ferry coming in as the interim general manager, and there's been discussions over the last few days of how to alter the situation that can be satisfactory to all parties, or at least get them out of this zone where everybody is uncomfortable. Does that mean that Anthony Davis has played his last game? Does that mean he will take a period away? Does that mean the NBA will relax its threat to fine the Pelicans if they don't play him? I think we're going to find out in the next 24 to 48 hours. But I do not think the situation that was uncomfortable last week going into the break will continue going forward.
This just goes back to something that Russillo and I were talking about, that he talked about on his podcast with Simmons, about how everybody's unhappy. Kyrie Irving's unhappy because he and Kevin Durant talked at the All-Star game and they spent time in Miami. They're friends. They're allowed to do that. But this is how things are going to inevitably be consumed. How is Kyrie going to deal with his level of discomfort with people questioning him?
Yeah, what Kyrie said today, which was, I can't have a conversation with a friend of mine and not have it dissected, is 100% true. I'm going to go to a bar tonight in L.A., and I'm going to sit with a friend of mine, and I don't want it necessarily to be broadcast on Twitter. That said, this is not a vacuum. Kyrie sells Nikes. Kyrie sells Pepsi. Kyrie wants you to go see his movies. It's an $8 billion business with millions of fans who care about what they do, and he didn't say anything in his rant today that shut down the possibility that he's going to play with Kevin Durant. He got angry at the question, but he did not shut it down. And as long as he's going to live in this world where he leaves the door open, there are people that are going to want to walk through it.
This is all true. LeBron and the Lakers, LeBron's in a comfortable spot. He got to where he wanted to be, but he's not in the spot he wants to be in terms of the playoff picture. He says he loves being counted out. But what's the reality of the challenge that his team faces in the second half as they're basically like 50-50 proposition in Vegas to make the playoffs?
Yeah, the reality is LeBron's new reaching the finals is now making the playoffs, or maybe I would say getting to the 7th seed, because that's where the Lakers have, and really what they need to try to go for. From this day forward, the Lakers' every game is going to be kind of like a playoff game. That's not something LeBron has dealt with before. He embraces it. He can say people have counted him out, but the reality is he is going to be judged differently and more harshly criticized for regular season games than he has in a very long time. He gets it. He understands it. He made it very clear today that he embraces it. Let's see it on the court, because he has been good since his injury he returned from his injury, but he has not been great. The Lakers need great LeBron starting tomorrow against the Rockets.
You're going to a speakeasy tonight? Is that what you're doing?
No, I'm going to go watch some basketball.
In a bar with a friend.
With Tim McMahon.
Oh, okay.
ESPN cohort.
All right, there you go. Well, you can Periscope it, live tweet it, whatever. I don't know if it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be as dissected the way Kyrie and KD, but it's
Our clothes are not as nice.
Your check's not going to be as big either, probably, but that's all right. You can cover it. You got the big dollars, my man. Hey, I appreciate the time, Brian. Good to talk. We'll visit again soon.